Let's welcome in now economic research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, Alan Mendenhall. Alan, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, this election was supposed to be about affordability and the economy. Democrats have obviously gone in a different direction. But talk to us about the message we heard from President Trump yesterday and how important it is that he frames that message moving towards November.
Yeah, well, everybody is talking about gas prices and inflation. And so if you look at headline inflation, it was at 4.2%. It's ticked up 3 months in a row. Sounds really bad. But when you factor in that headline inflation is measured by the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, that includes food and energy. But if you look at core inflation, which excludes food and energy, it's still under 3%. So that suggests that the inflation is tied directly to energy, which is itself tied directly to the Strait of Hormuz, that critical choke point where 20% of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas flow through. So with the Strait open, we're going to see gas prices come down. We're seeing them come down now. We saw them come down 10% in May, but they're really coming down now. And that's going to affect everything up and down the supply chain, because there is not a product out there that doesn't depend at some level on fuel and transportation. So that is going to be really good for the economy. We're seeing capital markets booming, as the president pointed out. We've hit so many records this year, it's hard to count. With the S&P 500 alone, we've hit over 20 records this year. But NASDAQ, the Dow, they've all broken records. So it's interesting that we see what appears to be a mismatch between booming stock markets and high gas prices, but it actually makes sense because we have great corporate earnings reports. We've got a boom in AI, which is not as dependent on gas as other industries. And we're energy independent in the United States of America. We're great producers of liquefied natural gas, great producers of oil. So we're in a really, really good position. And I think we're going to see some positive economic news as we approach midterms.
And President Trump has addressed that, powering the future with clean coal and more nuclear energy as well to really power those AI data centers, which are going to be crucial to make sure that we maintain the lead on that front. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on CNBC this morning. Here's what he had to say about the economy.
I think we're going to have a strong dollar because our economy is pulling away from the rest of the world. Look at the way our economy has performed during the Iranian conflict. You know, the rest of the world has gone negative to zero, plus or minus the point something percent. And the U.S. economy, that because we went into this on very strong energy footing, that on very strong CapEx cycle, from both the AI and the tax bill, the U.S. economy has really performed, and we're going to get to the other side of this conflict.
You know, I looked this morning, I was watching Question Time with Keir Starmer today, and he was talking about the UK economy. He claimed that it was growing faster than any country in the European Union, which of course is not true. But I looked at the GDP for the UK, for Germany, for Italy, for France. It's anemic compared to the growth that we're seeing here in this country. And that's because no one wants to invest in those countries. They know the future is uncertain. And you look at the United States right now, the investment coming in and the potential for doing more manufacturing in Central and South America, the sky seems to be the limit.
Yeah, it's a really good point, especially about Venezuela, which has the world's largest proven oil reserves. And we're the largest producer of both oil and liquefied natural gas. And Venezuela has a lot of kind of crude stuff. And we have the refining capacity to help them. And we've seen Chevron, ExxonMobil, they're starting to do business in Venezuela when previously they didn't. And another interesting factor is that China was the #1 importer of oil from Venezuela and from Iran. So we have a very different dynamic here globally, geopolitical dynamic with the situation in Iran, the situation in Venezuela. And look, we're energy independent. It is hard to overstate how important that is. But also with the Strait open, there are a lot of other things that are kind of exciting to watch, which I don't know how they'll turn out, but they should be exciting to watch. #1 is...
Yeah, that's going to be a giant market potentially. It seems like there is a lot of appetite and energy, pun intended, in the Middle East to transition past bombs and rockets and oil into a real economic zone that we can sell our goods to. They can manufacture some of their own goods. The question, though, and the important thing is there has got to be stability, and that's why the Iran deal is so important in all of this. And also, quite frankly, the Trump administration needs to get rid of the old guard in Venezuela and get a democratically elected government in place as soon as possible. Alan, great to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.